Hey guys, and welcome back to Big Brother 25, and today we're looking at episode 8. In the previous episode, Hisam won the Power of Veto challenge, and he put Reilly and Cameron up on the block with his intended target being Reilly. He's making no secret that Reilly is the one he's gunning for, and I gotta say, this episode didn't disappoint. I know I say that every single episode, but that's because these episodes are designed to entertain you. They're not like the British version where every single episode there might be some dull moments. No, the pace is riveting. Every single moment has some bearing on the game as a whole, and every single conversation matters. And I think that is exactly the kind of thing that interests me. So, without much further ado, let's get straight on into the video, shall we? So, I wanted to start with a conversation between Hisam and Reilly, and I've got to say, this was a very, very awkward conversation. Hisam basically laid out why he has targeted Reilly, and it's because when Reilly was head of household, she had told him that he could potentially be a target for her because he's good at competitions and he's strong, and that got his back up. And so he's wanting Reilly out of the house because she was bringing up names too quickly and things like that. But then Hisam starts to play a little bit of a fake card with Reilly. He starts to claim that he wants to work with Reilly and sort of form a sort of an alliance to sort of strengthen bonds within the house. I can't remember exactly what the scenario was, but Reilly saw through it immediately and knew that it was a crock of bullshit, which I think is absolutely right. I don't think Hisam wants to work with her. He's spent the last episode, this episode, and then the next couple of episodes talking about how much he wanted Reilly out of the house. Like, it's very, very clear that that was his plan from the get-go. So him saying that he wanted to work with her, not necessarily true or honest in my opinion, but that's just how I see it. And I think also you've got to appreciate that Reilly is very much on the defensive now. She's up for a eviction, and she's now got to try and work out who her allies are and who are going to stab her in the back. Who is going to stab her in the back? Yeah, we'll go with that. So yeah, very interesting conversation between Hisam and Reilly to kick the episode off. So we get another transmission from the Scaryverse, and this time it's Jag coming back. And I gotta say, Jag, if you remember from the last episode, was sent to the Nether region, and that meant that he was immune from eviction this week. He cannot be nominated at all. But he came back, and he's now been told that he needs to send someone to the Scaryverse who is exempt from the veto challenge and therefore cannot compete for the Power of Veto. This is a very, very big power, I think, and it's something that it shouldn't be taken lightly at all. Jag obviously went to go talk to Hisam, and he said, look, I'm thinking about putting Red up, just because obviously he could potentially take Cameron down. But Hisam was very, very firm on the fact that he wanted to get rid of Blue. He wanted Blue out of the equation because she is someone that would try and attempt to take Reilly down, whereas Red wouldn't take Reilly down. So I think there's definitely a lot of interesting conflicts going on. Hisam wants one of Reilly's allies to be out of the veto challenge, whereas Jag wants one of Hisam's allies to be out so that they have a better chance of taking Reilly down. But also, when he was talking to Reilly, it became a question of, okay, who do I put up? Because there's not really, I don't want to send anyone and make enemies in the house. So what he decided to do was he went round to everyone and was like, look, would you like to go? Would you like to go? Would you like to go? And the only person that seemed vaguely interested in going was Bowie Jane. And Bowie Jane is someone that we actually haven't seen a lot out of. I thought she'd be a lot more boisterous, a lot more sort of in your faces, but I guess she hasn't really had that kind of storyline yet. She hasn't had sort of like a main character storyline. And she's not really a narrator of the series. So, yeah, I guess I guess Bowie Jane was the smart choice. It's someone on Hisam's side, but it's also someone that you can write away as being sort of, as she volunteered to go to the Scaryverse and miss out on the veto. Yeah, honestly, Jag said Bowie Jane's name. I was expecting him to go with Red potentially and sort of boycott all of his sort of arguments. All of the sort of work he put in to try and find someone who wanted to go. But he chose Bowie Jane, and that made both Reilly and Hisam angry. Because Reilly was basically like, you should have put Red up there because Red, if he plays, would take down Cameron. And Hisam was like, you should have put up Blue. But why would he send one of his mates to the Scaryverse and miss out on the veto? They are wanting to take Reilly down. Jag's not going to help you take Reilly down, Hisam. Hisam's got some delusion about when he's in charge of the house and he thinks that he's so morally right and he's doing everything for the morally right reason. But yeah, it does start to wind you up after a while, I won't lie. So we come to another awkward Hisam conversation, and you can tell the power's getting to him now. It's going to his head. Because he's now starting to talk to Matt. And he's saying to Matt, look, your showmance with Reilly, which, let's be honest, the showmance is kind of just, they're interested in each other. Nothing's happened. They're just talking to each other. But obviously, other people in the house are starting to notice. And Hisam brought this up with Matt and went, look, showmances on this show don't do very well. So if you were to save her, that would be dangerous to your game. And the entire time I'm just thinking, Hisam's trying to play this poor guy. Matt's not having any of it, obviously. He's saying what Hisam wants to hear and then being like, yeah, fuck that. But like, Hisam's desperately trying to sort of rally support behind the idea of getting Reilly out of the house. And it's very interesting because I genuinely do feel like he believes that he is the person that is going to reunite the house. And it's genuinely like a bit savage to watch. I really wasn't expecting the game to get played this hard so early on. And I think Hisam's going to end up being a bit of a target if he's not careful. If he continues on this path, it could end up coming to bite him back in the arse, especially if Matt gets head of household or someone. Very, very interesting indeed. So it's time to talk about the veto competition, and because they're nominated, Reilly and Cameron have to take part, and as he's head of household, Hisam also has to take part. So 3 out of the 6 have already been chosen. Now, as for the rest of them, Matt was chosen by Hisam, Reilly was chosen by Blue, and Cameron was... No. Wait. Matt was chosen by Hisam, Blue was chosen by Reilly, and America was chosen by Cameron. That's what it was. So yeah, honestly, very interesting picks. It's so funny to me. I don't know if you can tell, but I was very much rooting for Reilly to survive this week. And it's very, very interesting to see the fact that this veto challenge, the odds were stacked against Hisam so dramatically, so incredibly dramatically, to the point where I was like, there's no way is he surviving. Like, is he winning this? Because there are 5 people who are willing and wanting to potentially to use the veto to take people down off of the block. Not a single person from your alliance made it into the veto competition. So you're on your own, Hisam. Hisam, because he was getting a bit too big for his boots, I really wanted his week to be a bit fucked up. And this exact moment was the make or break. Would someone else win the veto competition, or would Hisam grab his 2nd one in a row? And potentially his 3rd challenge win in a row, which is crazy. So the challenge was actually quite entertaining, I thought, personally. It was from the it was from the Scrambleverse, and it was essentially they went into like a music shop and they had to listen to records which were played backwards, and then they had to like scramble them to find the right sort of speed and direction to hear the words read out. and you had to piece together the clue. So like one of them was like place the tuba something. They all had like stupid names. Place the tuba in the toilet or something like that, or place the tuba in the or something, I don't know. And it was very, very entertaining to watch, and they had three clues and they had to complete them in the quickest amount of time. Some of them really, really struggled with this. Some of them absolutely flew through. I was really interested to see how Matt would attempt this challenge, because obviously he's told us that he's deaf, but I'm now starting to think that I'm wrong in saying the fact that he's deaf, and he might just be like hard of hearing, because if he was deaf, there's no way he would have been able to hear the sound from the records, right? Or am I just being really stupid? I feel like I don't know enough about his condition or about his sort of his deafness to sort of comment on that. But I just did think it was a bit odd, because I was like, oh, how is he hearing this? What's going on? He also didn't see the piano, which was the piano was the toilet, I think, which had like, yeah, it was really, really weird. I gotta say, it was an odd challenge, but it was very entertaining. This is one of the things that US Big Brother does well, is its challenges. The challenges are always very, very entertaining, and they always feel like they've got stakes to them as well. Because if you win, you get head of household. If you win, you get Power of Veto, and they're two very, very powerful like chess pieces in the game of Big Brother, essentially. Blue was complaining that she couldn't understand what was going on. It was a bit painful to watch some of them, because some of them genuinely did take forever to compete, and it was a bit tough. But Hisam did seem like he did it really, really speedily, and I noticed that the first person who came in took a while, or didn't necessarily take a while, but we saw them take a while. Whereas, like, everybody else had, like, sort of trimmed down, edited versions. And Hisam's just seemed really, really speedy. He's the only person that didn't play the records in order. He played them out of order, because obviously they were... If you went from right to left, it wouldn't have given you the complete message. But he decided to start in the middle, outside. And he managed to find the message very, very quickly. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just what I noticed. But... when they came back with the scores, it was very, very telling what edit we'd seen. Blue was in third place with 2 minutes 36. She completed it in 2 minutes 36. Cameron managed to complete it in 2 minutes 10. But Hisam clinched the victory in 1 minute 45. So a whole 25 seconds ahead of Cameron, essentially, which was a bit crazy. Reilly mucked up. She didn't do very, very well. And yeah, the challenge was interesting, and Hisam came out with yet another win, meaning that he can choose to take people down. I don't think he will, though. Or he'll leave the nominations as they are. So a lot of very, very interesting things happened in that veto challenge, but Hisam winning was definitely a monumental nail in the coffin moment, I think, personally. So just before the veto meeting, Bowie Jane came back from the Scaryverse, which I thought was actually very, very cool. She'd missed out on the veto meeting, the veto challenge. But yeah, honestly, very, very interesting. Reilly and Hisam got chatting again before the veto meeting, and there was a very, very uncomfortable moment where he basically said to her face, I'm going to ask people to vote for you. I'm going to ask people to get you out of the house. He says this to Reilly, to her face. And I just thought, oh, what kind of a game is he playing? Because it's a dangerous one, I think. I think it's a very, very dangerous one. Because if he gets up in front of people and says, I would like you all to vote for this person, I'm immediately sitting there going, I don't want to vote for that person now. I was going to, but now that you've told me to do that, it makes it sound like I'm doing your bidding, and that's not okay. And I think there's a general sense of unrest forming around Hisam as well. People are starting to notice that he is very controlling and he is taking this head of household role a little bit too seriously. And I think that could end up being his undoing. And I think it's very, very interesting that he went into that meeting, and he was basically like, yes, I'm not using the power of veto, but voting out Reilly will help to re-establish the connections in this house, essentially blaming Reilly for the division in the first place. I gotta say, it was a shocking speech. Also, very dramatic, and I did love it. But I was sat there like, oh, I can't believe he's just said that. And he said he claimed that the house had been split prematurely, which I do agree with. I do agree that this is the earliest I've seen the house split like this. However, you were just as instrumental in that. They just had a group. You created the divide. So I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things going around with Hisam at the moment. Do I think his plan's going to go according to plan? I don't know. I feel like there are going to be some sort of sticks in the mud ahead. It's going to cause a little bit of drama, a little bit of tension. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with a bit of a shocking vote when it comes to Reilly versus Cameron. But all signs are leading towards Reilly leaving the house, which is a shame because I do really like Reilly. So, like I said, that's really it. And I'll be watching next episode, and I'll be back for another video shortly. But thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next episode, which will probably be tomorrow. I'm going to be a bit more regular with the uploading. I am away this weekend, so these videos will be coming out pre-scheduled. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.